Meghadootam, Mahakavi Kalidas Day, 22nd June 2020 CE. Writing and narration by Saurabh Bondre. Namaskar. Today is Ashadh Shuddha Pratipada, the first day of the month of Ashadh as per the Indian calendar. 22nd of June 2020 CE. The air is cloudy. There are light drizzles at places, showers elsewhere, and heavy rains at other places. Due to lockdown, we are all inside our homes, away from our beloveds. But that doesn't stop the climate from arousing our minds. If we ask anyone how they would describe this climate, I guess they'll say romantic. And that's why I'm going to talk about something quite relevant today. For lovers, separation isn't a novelty. Anyone who hasn't suffered the pangs of separation from one's beloved is considered to be an inferior lover by hardcore romantics. Mature lovers even claim that the intensity of one's love experienced during separation is something that can't be experienced even in union. That's why the romantic express more intensely about separation than romance itself. And sensitive artists are no exception. So whether it's folk art, fine art, performance art, cinema, or literature, separation seems to be romanticized and celebrated throughout. For writers of romantic literature, separation is probably more beloved than the beloved. The reason I'm talking about this today is because it's relevant today. Informed literati all over the world celebrate the first day of the Indian month of Ashadh as Mahakavi Kalidas Day. Why this day for Kalidas? Firstly, because there is very little evidential information about him. His date of birth, century of existence are all unknown. But his most famous poem, the Meghadootam, contains a line, Ashadhasya Prathama Divase, which in the context of the plot means on the first day of Ashadh. The Indian month of Ashadh, the recent onset of monsoon, and the resulting ambience is crucial for the story of Meghadootam. Hence, this day is celebrated as Mahakavi Kalidas Day. Among most Sanskrit poems, Meghadootam is relatively shorter, with just around 120 verses. But what Kalidas achieves in this brief poem isn't matched by any of the longer epics. Mallinath Suri, the most famous Sanskrit scholar and critic from 14th century, exclaimed, Maghe Meghe Gatam Vayah, meaning the literature of poet Magh and Kalidas's Megh, that is Meghadootam, are lifelong obsessions. Translations and literary appreciations of Meghadootam can be found in more than 27 languages, both Indian and others. That is the extent of magic of Meghadootam. Mahakavi Kalidas Day is celebrated every year, but this year it bears a special significance. The corona crisis has forced a lockdown on the world, and consequently, people are physically away from their near and dear ones. That includes lovers separated from lovers. And there is no solution to the problem in sight. We have mobile phones and internet that enable us to exchange I love you, miss you, and similar texts, combined with emoticons and smileys, including kissing lips, beating hearts, weeping eyes, and sad faces. But I wouldn't dare finding out whether all these help in reducing the pain of separation or intensifying it. But many centuries ago, in India, a young yaksha, a celestial being, demoted to the earth, thereby separated from his newly-wed wife and bereaved of his magical powers, didn't have any means to convey a see you soon or a take care message to her. Continuously thinking about his helpless new bride's plight and suffering in separation from her husband, this love-lorn yaksha was so distressed that he actually implored a passing monsoon cloud, a Megha, to act as his messenger, travel to his home, and convey a message of his well-being to his wife. The conversation between the yaksha and the cloud is the plot of the poem. And this conversation happens on the first day of Ashadh, which is why it is significant today. Rains, in a way, symbolize the union of earth and water. Rain, with its cool showers, pacifies the earth scorching from the summer heat, and this union sprouts into foliage. But this very reunion period distresses Yaksha. The cloud, as assumed by the Yaksha, is said to meet his own beloved, the lightning. So, the Yaksha invokes to the cloud his union with the lightning and appeals him earnestly to fulfill the task of his love-lorn friend. Despite this pain, Meghadootam ends on a positive note of hope. One of the concluding verses proclaims an eternal truth. Nichairgacchatyuparicha dasha chakranemikkramena, which means one's condition isn't perpetually low. It rises, much like an axle wheel. We aren't much aware about Kalidas's personal life, but each of his works conveys messages of hope. I wish I could avoid bringing this up, but I can't help mentioning that a young, talented, successful, and energetic actor from Hindi films ended his life in a very shaking suicide last week. It's inappropriate to talk about his death, but considering that he was an avid reader, interested in all sorts of literature, I surely wonder if an attempt to bring in this hope into his life would have changed the course of events. Back to what we were discussing. We can find romantic separation being discussed in many works of literature. But a work centered around a dialogue between a love-lorn man and a natural entity is almost unique. We have always read and heard about the sufferings of love-lorn nayikas, that is, heroines, and their despairing lives. But Kalidas enlightens us to the fact that even men can get emotional about their beloved wives. This work reflects, to an extent, Kalidas' personality. Kalidas has invoked nature in all of his works. The Ritu Samharam is exclusively a nature poem, a description of 6 seasons. But Meghadootam personifies nature in a unique way. In Ramayanam, even Ram asks the trees and creepers the whereabouts of Sita captured by Ravan. In Mahabharatam, even Shakuntala shares with the flowers and bushes her memories of King Dushyanta. So Kalidas, influenced by these two epics, has employed a similar theme. The meter chosen for Meghadootam, the Manda Kranta, has a gentle tempo that is indulging and lilting at the same time. Kalidas seems to suggest a way for lonely people to engage with nature. But why nature? Because It never fails us. It doesn't betray us. It returns our sincere acts sincerely. That's why most sensitive writers and poets resort to nature. And Kalidas is no exception. He brilliantly and beautifully intertwines human emotion and love for nature. He subtly suggests that we must care for our natural surroundings as much as we do for our near and dear ones. And that's the takeaway from Meghadootam for me. For you, please have a look at the various online links to know more about Kalidas and his poetry. This was quite long. Thank you for a patient listening. Take care.